He said, I believe that the people of this nation fully understood what Congress has done to them over the last 49 years. They would move on Washington and they would not wait for an election. It adds up to a preconceived plan, a conspiracy, I might say, to destroy the economic and social independence of the United States. Henry Ford said of the Federal Reserve, which he's a part of this whole thing, it is well enough that the people of this nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe that there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. But nobody is going to rise up in this country. Everyone has been duped, they're sound asleep, everyone's got their iPhones, their iPods, and their iMusic pouring into their brain day and night. Everyone is in a stupor in this country. You ain't getting it back, people. It's not coming back. You're not going to vote this thing out. It's all over with. Why? Because nobody has stood up and been counted on the right side. There are no statesmen left in America. They are all prostitutes. A Senate and a Congress full of whores. Prostitutes who have sold their soul for the biggest dollar that they can get. They will pass anything put in front of them if they're bribed enough. And that's what's happened. Every one of them have been bribed. They pass laws that are the finger on us that they don't have to follow. That's whoredom, ladies and gentlemen. These people are whores in Washington, D.C. And if there's one of them that's not, I invite them to come on the program and talk about it. Because they'll readily recognize the prostitution, the cat house in Washington, D.C. that they're in. Every one of them are sold out. There's not an American left up there. But I don't know. I could be wrong. It's just my opinion. Oh, my goodness. Oh, FDR to Colonel House. The real truth of the matter is, as you and I know, that a financial element in the large centers has owned the government of the U.S. since the days of Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, 3 years after the Fed was given control of the U.S. economy, or the dollar, the quote, Woodrow Wilson, just as FDR said, from the days of Woodrow Wilson, we have been owned. The growth of the nation, Woodrow Wilson wrote, and all of our activities are in the hands of a few men. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the civilized world. No longer a government by conviction of the free vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of small groups of dominant men. I have unwittingly destroyed my country. I have destroyed my country because he was the one that allowed the Federal Reserve to come in. With everyone else going home, they got together the people they needed in Washington, D.C. to pass the laws, and Wilson let it happen. He destroyed America. It's over with, people. John Kennedy at Columbia University. The high office of the president has been used to foment a plot to destroy the Americans' freedom. Before I leave office, I must inform the citizen of his plight. 10 days later, he was shot. First act was to rescind the very thing that I have in my Bible. It's called the U.S. note. It's somewhere hidden in the pages. The U.S. note. U.S. note. This is not a Federal Reserve note. It's a U.S. note. Federal Reserve notes owned by the Federal Reserve System. A U.S. note, he put back a plan to take it away from the world bankers, and he was dead. And the first thing that Johnson did was he rescinded the U.S. note. Ladies and gentlemen, there are invisible, behind-the-scene personages who are the God of this world and working with the gods of this world. As the Prime Minister of England, Benjamin Disraeli, said, the world is governed by very different personages from what is imagined by those who are not behind the scenes. See, ladies and gentlemen, when Yeshua strips off the first seal and the angel shouts, go, not come, but go. Just a slight twist from the Greek language to understand what's going on, because then, one by one, we see what happens upon the earth as Yeshua strips Satan's authority in the heavens, and we see what plays out upon planet Earth. And one after another, we see Satan released in all of his fury because he knows that his time is short. By consent, it would take a little bit longer, but it looks like that consent has now come. It looks like it's come by the vote of the people of America who just wanted change. What was this change? The change was not described. It wasn't defined. It was just change. When Clinton came in and said that he wanted to reinvent government, I said, no, thank you. You reinvent government? You know, you are a slick talker, but, I have heard nothing from his background that I want him changing anything from a nation based on God-given rights and responsibilities to a totalitarian government under a new world order. Oh, my goodness. We could go on page after page after page of what we see as the Illuminati then works its way into the United States of America. And as we see the manifesto from Adam Weishaupt, who was the originator of the Illuminati, it was formed on May 1st, 1776, which is the Novus Ordo Seclorum. If you look at your Federal Reserve notes on the back, you'll see the pyramid with the all-seeing eye. And you will see the Novus Ordo Seclorum, the New World Order, right at the bottom of that image that is on there. And it was May 1st, 1776, and it has 1776 right on that Novus Ordo Seclorum. Remember, those notes were created after the U.S. is in receivership. And in 1930, Adam Weishaupt died, and in 1830 he died, and Giuseppe Mazzini took over as the Revolution Program Director. And it was in July 14th, 1889, Albert Pike, who was a genius, and he was the Religious Program Director of America. He sent the instructions to the 23 Supreme Councils of Freemasonry around the world, and I quote, "That which we must say to the crowd is, we worship a God, but it is the God who one adores without superstition. To you, Sovereign Grand Instructors General, we say this, and you may repeat it to the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degrees. The Masonic religion should be, by all of its initiates of the higher degrees, maintained in the purity of the doctrine of Lucifer. Yes, Lucifer is God, the God of light and the God of good, and is struggling against Adonai, or Jesus, the God of darkness and evil." This is exactly who put together Illuminism and Masonry in the United States of America. And after that, there is no difference. The goal of the Illuminist and the satanic masters who have bowed the knee to Satan, their goal is to completely dominate the earth. And that rider on the white horse has been sent forth, conquering and to conquer, and they have a plan that is revealed in the stripping of each one of these seals. And so what we're going to do, as we go into each one of these, we're going to take a look and see what is planned. What we can see happening not only in the world scene today, but what we are given the details in the book of the Revelation. See,